Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel, Honey's MY Stories. MY Stories supposedly stands for Malaysia, but this video will be still about Singapore. I just recently uploaded our 300 ringgit day trip challenge to Singapore, and although the challenge was a success since we spent under budget and we saved a lot of money, guys, in this video I will share the reality behind that success. That day trip, guys, was really fun, but it's also really exhausting and we committed a lot of mistakes. So I will share with you the 8 mistakes we did on our day trip to Singapore, and also at the end of this video I will share with you an alternative itinerary which is still on budget but less exhausting than what we had. So if you're interested in this video, then please keep on watching. Mistake number 1. We tried to go to a lot of places or a lot of tourist spots within that day. It's really not wise for you to go to a lot of places within one day, guys. If only we just pick 2 to 3 locations, that will be better. Singapore may be a small country, but there's a lot to see and there's a lot to experience. So I think it's best to travel slowly. When you want to visit all of the famous spots within one day, the tendency is you will be in a hurry. So you don't have enough time for you to do sightseeing or to just really be there and appreciate the place. Also, guys, it will be very exhausting. So instead of you just enjoying the view, you will need to walk around and travel from one place to another because you have a lot to go to. I think personally it's best for you to just pick 2 to 3 locations if you will be going for a day trip in Singapore. But I think the best thing to do if I am going back to Singapore is to travel for a couple more days, perhaps at least 2 to 3 days to stay in Singapore. Should we come back here? Why not? But what if like mga 3 days, ganyan? Okay rin, no? Second mistake, not wearing comfortable shoes or not bringing sleepers. So I actually wore shoes at that time, and actually it's kind of comfy, but it did not last long. Before we traveled to Singapore, guys, I actually prepared myself mentally and physically. I even went to the gym, do some cardio exercises just so I can be prepared for all the walking in Singapore. However, it was my feet that was not ready for being inside the shoes for more than 24 hours. And guys, I even walked barefoot in Singapore. I took off my shoes and walked barefoot for a couple minutes just so my feet can breathe from being inside my shoes. Yes, guys, bring slippers or wear comfortable shoes so that you won't have any dead toenails after your trip. And yes, I had dead toenails right now. It hasn't been healed. Third mistake, guys, we did not have our money exchanged here in Kuala Lumpur before we traveled to Singapore. I think it's best for you to have your money exchanged here in Kuala Lumpur before you travel to Singapore or in any country you're from. In our case, what we did was we withdrew money in TBS, which is the bus station here in Kuala Lumpur, before our trip, and we plan to have it exchanged in Singapore. We arrived there at 5:46 in the morning. It's still dark and all the shops are closed, so we didn't have our money exchanged right when we arrived. So we still went on with our itinerary and we have our money exchanged in Vivo City, the mall, before we take the ride to Sentosa Express. So basically that mall is really huge and we really had a hard time looking for the money exchanger shop. I even think we've got lost looking for that store. It's very time consuming, so it's best if you already have your money exchanged before your trip, especially if you will be taking the same bus, the midnight bus from KL to Singapore. So guys, have your money exchanged first before you travel to Singapore. Fourth mistake, guys, we went to Arab Street and Hajj Lane very early in the morning. These streets in Singapore are very famous for their shops and the restaurants around there. I think it's really pointless to go there if the stores or the shops were closed, and that's what happened in our trip. The only reason why we went there first right after we arrived was because it's the nearest tourist location from our bus drop-off point. We thought that it will save us time if we will go there first rather than go back and forth if we will go to other locations and then go back there. So yeah, we went there first, and that's a mistake. That's the wrong decision, guys. Don't do that. If you really want to go to Haji Lane and Arab Street, then it's best for you to go there when the shops are already open, so that you will have the full experience of those streets. By the way, guys, we're already halfway, and if you've reached this part of the vlog, please kindly like this video before we proceed. And I trust you guys that you did click the like button for that. Thank you so much. So fifth mistake, guys, is that we went inside Fort Canning Park. Only reason why we went to Fort Canning was because we saw online that there is that famous Instagrammable location, the Tree Tunnel, which is in Fort Canning Park. We entered there, and yeah, we walked around looking for that location. It's quite hidden, and although there are signs or signages inside, actually you need to really look for it. If your only reason for going to Fort Canning Park is the Tree Tunnel, then it's best for you to enter in the roadside entrance. So I will show you some clips for that. If you will be coming here to Singapore and you want to take a photo in the Tree Tunnel, I highly suggest you can just enter here on this side or in front of YWCA building, in this pedestrian. So you can enter on this entrance, Fort Canning Park, and then go down this tunnel to reach that location in front of YWCA building and near this stoplight. For our sixth mistake, it is not going to Gardens by the Bay early. If Singapore is being mentioned to you, what's the first thing that will come to your mind? Mine is, of course, the Merlion Park, Marina Bay Sands, and Gardens by the Bay, especially the Super Groove Tree. Those are actually my three reasons why I really wanted to go to Singapore. Even if those are my favorite locations, we didn't went there first, and it's a very huge mistake. So in our case, we got there very late. It's actually almost 8 p.m. already. The light show in the Super Groove Tree was already starting at that time. At that point, we're already tired from all the walking the entire day. We're also hungry because we haven't had dinner yet. So after the light show, we immediately went to Esplanade just so we can have our dinner. Personally, I really wanted to stay there a longer period of time, but because we're also exhausted and we're very hungry, so yeah, we left. We haven't really had enough time to explore it. Alright, seventh mistake. We did not took into consideration the possible exhaustion. When we planned our itinerary, we planned it like our energy from start to finish will just be the same, and that's a very huge mistake. And you know what, guys? I think the three most important resources in traveling, or maybe in life in general, are our time, our money, and our energy. So on that day trip to Singapore, our main focus was really to save money, so we compromised for our time and our energy. What we did was that instead of taking a taxi or Grab for convenience, we opted to took the train, and if it's just less than 2 kilometers walk, we prefer to walk just so we can save money. And it's a very huge mistake because we did not took into consideration that in doing so, although we save money, we are compromising our energy and our time. So that's why towards the end of our trip, we're very exhausted already. And because we're exhausted, so we could no longer enjoy as much as if it's only we still have the energy to really explore the place. So yeah, taking the train may be cheap, but it's not convenient, and it's also time consuming because you need to walk from station to station, and you know, the train stations in Singapore are really huge as well. Alright guys, down with our last mistake, and that is we did not took the advantage of our number. During that trip, there were actually 5 of us, and if only we took advantage of our number, we could have traveled in a more convenient way. We could have taken a Grab or a taxi instead of walking from one place to another, so that we can save time, energy, and actually it's not that expensive because there's 5 of us. Taking a Grab or a taxi could be expensive if there's only 1 or 2 of you who will share the fare, but In our case, there were 5 of us. 5, you know? So it won't be that expensive. It's actually just cheap if we took Grab. We only took Grab twice. That's from Gardens by the Bay going back to Esplanade for our dinner, and from there going to the bus pickup point for us to go back to KL. We realized this too late in our trip, and so yeah, you should take into consideration your number if you will be traveling by group, so you can take advantage of that. Those are our 8 mistakes on that day trip to Singapore. So as I have mentioned, it's best to just pick 2 to 3 locations if you will be going on a day trip. But if you will be going there or staying there for a couple of days, then much better. Take into consideration as well your energy. So give time to rest and for you to recharge. That's really, really important so that you can enjoy sightseeing and exploration to Singapore. And the most important one, guys, as I have mentioned, wear comfortable shoes or bring slippers if possible so that you can avoid having dead toenails. I learned this the hard way. So yeah, I hope that you can incorporate this on your future day trip to Singapore. If I'm gonna redo our itinerary, perhaps I'm gonna do it this way. We will still be taking the bus from KL to Singapore. Probably will arrive the same time at 5:46. But instead of going to Haji Lane and Arab Street, I'll go ahead directly to Merlion Park. I think it's interesting to witness sunrise there, and it's nice to be there early so that there will be less crowd and you can have or take good photos and videos, because when we were there it was afternoon and it was packed with people. Yeah, from there we can look for a hawker store to have our breakfast, and after breakfast we can go to Gardens by the Bay. Although we won't be going to Cloud Forest or Flower Dome because those have entrance fees, there's still a lot to see in Gardens by the Bay, and I think I can just bring a mat for me to do a little picnic. I'll spend a whole morning there. Probably afterwards I'll go and find another hawker store for lunch, and we'll go to Sentosa Island. So Universal Studios is not just the only tourist location in Sentosa. There's a lot of other places to visit, so it's nice to visit the other side of the island, not just Universal Studios. And late in the afternoon, perhaps we can get back to Esplanade and enjoy the breathtaking view once the city lights will turn on. So yeah, I'm gonna spend the rest of my time in Esplanade and have my dinner there as well. I think with that itinerary, still be on budget and it won't be as exhausting as our actual day trip. Those are my top 3 picks to visit in Singapore. How about you guys? Maybe you have any tourist destination that you wanted to visit in Singapore, so please comment that down below so that I will have some idea as well. And yeah, I think I'm gonna end the vlog here. I hope that you learned something from this video, and I hope that this will help you in planning your future travel to Singapore. And guys, if you like this video, I will ask you a little favor to help me boost the YouTube algorithm by hitting the like button or sharing this to your friend or commenting down below. I would really appreciate any of that. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you will be updated with my future upload. Once again, this is Honey and this is my SG story. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye for now.